It's the XRP army. We all heard the calling. You didn't hear it, no, not sorry. We on an island, please don't call me. It's the XRP army. We all heard the calling. You didn't hear it, no, not sorry. We on an island, please don't call me. The greatest point ever created, the XRP army, and we all gon' make it. We don't hear no haters, adios, see you later. We just keep going up like elevator. Stay focused like a laser, and if you bought it, thank me later. Erase all your debt like erasers. Flying in a jet like a mason. Finally hit 2K with no retracement. You holding the standard with no replacement. No more dollars, paper chasing. I just made a killing like Jason. You see where we headed and you see what we facing. You either sleep or you waking. Big bags like a banker. You ain't got it, you a wankster. I've been holding long and I'm anxious. Stupid money, I'ma buy me a spaceship. I got XRP by the cases, and what's gonna pay off is the patience. It's the XRP army. We all heard the calling. You didn't hear it, no, not sorry. We on an island, please don't call me. It's the XRP army. We all heard the calling. You didn't hear it, no, not sorry. We on an island, please don't call me. You're messing with the best crypto community ever. The XRP army, and we all stick together. And we can make it through any storm, any weather. There's nobody in the world that I know does it better. Cancel all debtors, shred up them letters. Soon to the moon, it's gonna be all better. And I'ma sell, but I'ma always hold a little something until we hit like 5,000, 8, 9 something. And when we least expect it, we blast in one direction. It took like 3 seconds and we blasting off wrecking. You searching through the wreckage, the new digital age. Please enjoy your blessings, you free from your cage. XRP, no more stressing. It was a long race, but now we sitting on the crescent. XRP army, time to open up your presents. We made it to the moon, no more second guessing. We got the XRP essence. It's the XRP army. We all heard the calling. You didn't hear it, no, not sorry. We on an island, please don't call me. It's the XRP army. We all heard the calling. You didn't hear it, no, not sorry. We on an island, please don't call me.
We're sorry, the number you have reached is not in service. Please check the number or try your call again. This is a recording.
I'm very skeptical about listening to congressional testimony or comments from the chairman of the SEC or comments at SEC hearings. Very, very skeptical. That's not how lawyers decide what's legal, okay? None of those things has any bearing at all on what's legal. And instead, lawyers look at the law, we do research, we look at regulations, we look at case law. That's how we decide what's legal. And if people had done that last July, they would have saved themselves a lot of grief and money, and they would have cost David a lot of money. But that's what we need to do going forward. We don't need to swing the pendulum. We don't need to pay attention even to what's being said in the news media, even by the chairman of the SEC.
The fact that there's evidence of and there's lots of temptation for market manipulation, misconduct in these exchanges, and some of these exchanges that the operational and technical standards are not the same in terms of threat of heist or cyber heist or cyber attack. You want to bring them up to the level, and the best of the cryptocurrencies, I would suggest, will gravitate to the best of the exchanges if they're regulated, and others will fall by the wayside.
If I'm right about micropayments becoming like the thing, there's going to be a massive revolution in the way software interacts with money, and that's going to be a tremendous opportunity. That's going to be a whole new multi-billion-dollar industry.
I sense in you.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is?
You can see that.
Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is.
No.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
has to happen from, we're in June 2020, what has to happen over the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever? I mean, what changes do you see taking place? Is it just going to be a natural evolution? Is there something, are you going to need an entity like the Federal Reserve stepping in? And we can talk about the Fed a little later, but what do you think is going to happen over the next several years? And more than what you think, what do you think needs to happen?
Well, I think we need to work within the system, clearly. We do need to work with governments. Again, a big mistake early on was, we're just going to go around central banks. I mean, it's just nonsense, right? So we've got to get the central banks involved. Frankly, they are, though. I mean, there's an incredible amount of engagement going on, whether it's in the UK or in Japan, Singapore, the Fed here in the US, certainly, Brazil. I mean, all around the world. India now is loosening up. We're seeing major changes there. So it is happening, but those things take time, right? And technology works on kind of one quick cycle that's very different from how governments and regulation work. So they're kind of a natural mismatch, but we've got to get those three things, tech, capital markets, and regulatory authorities working together. That's difficult, harder than the internet, in fact. So I think a lot of it is staying with it, working within the incumbents, but not keeping our eyes off the prize of access to all.
But not keeping our eyes off the prize of access to all.
Is the moniker assigned to that? Is that a person? Is that a group of people? I don't know.
Homme de guerre.
Yes. Someone obviously knows, and there are various theories about what group of people. I happen to believe there's probably 2 or 3 people who represent what is Satoshi Nakamoto, and maybe one day we'll know the truth. There's kind of a race in this next gen financial system and other things too, other technologies, obviously, tons of things going on today. Just sticking with payments and blockchain, the Belt and Road initiative, part of that, to your point, is bringing on countries throughout Southeast Asia, and beyond, in Africa, certainly, perhaps Latin America. So you could see this outcome where there's sort of the U.S., Japan, India, the Middle East, anchored by Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and Europe, clearly UK, that sort of have one system, and then sort of China through Belt and Road and extension of that, and the developing nations having another one. Again, that's not a good outcome for the whole world, right? That's a very polarized world. So I think by the U.S. keeping up and making sure it does have a central bank digital currency and experiment with it and see where it goes and kind of keep up on this sort of arms race of technology, that's a bet you have to make, right? Among other things. And also, how did we win the internet? We had some great companies, and the US came up with a very clear, simple, minimalist regulatory approach. And that's why we have these incredible companies pretty much dominating, the internet as we know it today. That's incredibly powerful. We got to make sure we do that with next gen financial systems. We haven't really done that yet, and we got to start catching up.